Neck beard so tight, got my glasses just right. Feeling so in my veins, Twitter raging all night. As I tune to my feed, what's this I see? Hashtag Comicsgate, so much controversy. I spit out my tea. This all caps logo is laughing at me. Hop on my steed, I'm chafing in my skinny jeans, but I gotta wait night till the daylight. Daddy working overtime for the soy boy life. Let me cluck, cuck for a buck. My IOU cup from the big two. Overflow with much. See, my roommates all agree. You need to pay a big diversity. And that indie smoke can't play dog with a man's lane. Can't hold a candle to my Hollywood payday. $20,000, steal me pre-tax cheddar. I'd like to see you in cells, try and do better. Your pages float, your comics are late.
Oh,
hey,
no.
everybody. Welcome to Indie Comics Interviews.
Fuck, I love that.
This is going to be a special night. Let me just say we have Mark Marianelli on his first ever interview. And let me just tell you, Mark is a big part of Comicsgate, and he's a really unsung hero in Comicsgate. Almost like nobody knows who he is, but everybody knows who 6 a.m. Comics is. You know what I mean?
Word.
Yeah. So it is time this man gets his face out there and people will understand who Mark Marianelli is.
Oh, yeah, y'all gonna regret that. That's good.
Yeah, you got your name right.
I sincerely doubt that, man. We love your work. You know, it's whimsical, it's playful, it's got heart, and yeah, no, it's a real pleasure to make your acquaintance, to meet you.
Yeah, Brian, man, it's good to finally talk to you in person, buddy. Appreciate
rock
that.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. You know, and so for anybody who doesn't know, Mark Marianelli does the Starfetched video game, and he's working on the comic by the same name, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? Yes, sir. And then everybody has probably familiar with his collage work. Let's see if I can bring that up.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I have the most recent one.
I don't even know if I have the most recent one. That thing changes every 5 minutes, so it's
it's like the Blob. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
It was literally supposed to just be a picture of Gunship Thunder Punch at one point, and then it just kept. I never got that much interaction on Twitter before. I think I scaled out 600 followers about like 3 years ago, and I never use it, and then. Posted that, suddenly people actually liked it, so I was like, "Oh."
It's been a fantastic promotional tool. That's for sure. I know when I saw, my character there, I was pleased as punch.
Oh, I was waiting to get him in there. I was scared to draw him.
Oh, you did a beautiful job. You did a beautiful job with all of these. My personal favorites, though, and I think everybody who's seen this has their personal favorites. I love the fact that you didn't put in one Merry Boy; you put in all four. Lug is definitely looking great with her plops, and of course Cecil.
Drunk on the ground, loving it. Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Seriously, if you could market this as a color form set.
I have a digital color form I'm working on. I posted on
Yeah, actually that I was going to cover.
Oh, did you check that out?
Yeah. I have that already queued up and ready to go.
Oh, shit.
Sweet.
Yeah, a couple years ago I started drawing all these Marvel characters. I do a ton of fan art. It was time to stop doing that, but I did a ton of Marvel characters. I did like 300 Marvel characters, and so I put together this digital color form where you can pick up to like 6 characters, and like you get a drop down. You pick whatever character you want and move them around different backgrounds. So I started
what I want to know before we go into the color form digital thing. What I want to know is, okay, so obviously there's a style which is the same style Starfetched is created in. Mm-hmm. That is applied to all these characters, which I think is awesome. It is the most creative thing I think I've seen inside Comicsgate. And seriously, inside Comicsgate from end to end since I've been around, this is probably the most creative thing I've seen happen. Oh, and you went after everybody's characters, including Captain Love, which I appreciate. It is just amazing how you like captured the essence of everybody's character in the style of your character. What inspired that style? Where did that style come from?
I have no idea. I just kind of it's been changing. If you looked at my work like 4 or 5 years ago, it looks a lot different. It just it was more a matter of just doing something that was easier to draw. So the less detail I applied to stuff, the better it turned out. And I guess it turns out chibis are a thing. I didn't realize that was a thing when I was doing these more. But yeah, it's just it was easier to draw for me. Everything boils down to laziness with me. If there's any kind of like creative decision, it was probably just laziness.
It's not laziness. It's what's the term I'm looking for?
Efficient. Yeah, minimalism. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
It's like yeah, we'll use that thing. It sounds more respectable.
Minimalist efficiency. That's what we'll go with. Yeah. No. Everything boils down to whatever I can do to get it done the quickest and less work on my end. So
we got some guests in the chat here. We got Sim. He's in there. Hey Sim, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I did send you a link, brother. So if you want to drop in, man, follow it. And then we got Edward Marlis in the chat.
Hail, Edward.
And also Metal Movies and Brewskis. Hail Metal. Love to see you here, man.
Yeah,
love that dude.
Yeah. He's a regular for our shows, and I freaking love to see him around there. He's
that name alone he's got me with that name. That's great.
Right. Yeah. Metal Movies and Brewskis. I mean, how could that not interest your attention immediately? Right?
I'm in.
Yeah. It's like that. Wait, you just described my life in 3 words. Man. It's like
all the things. I wish I was that awesome.
His father wrecked 4 Mustangs in the 1970s. Just a little
I was saying that last night. Yeah,
trivia.
That's a legacy worth living up to, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Get out there. I wrecked 1 Buick Century in my teenage years. That's about the best I ever did.
Yeah, I actually never wrecked. I mean, I've wrecked 2 cars. I wrecked a Volkswagen Beetle. You know what I mean? Sedan version, big old monster thing. And nice. it was driving in Ohio, and I was trying to cross a freeway, and I didn't see a car coming because it was in the shadows of corn. You know what I mean? So I didn't see it till it was too late. Because it was all on the left lane of that road coming at us. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just trying to cross over the highway from corn, from side corn road to side corn road. You know what I mean? And it just boom, didn't even see it coming because it was just, you know what I mean? Because it was like hidden by the corn in the shade, and it's like, just couldn't see it until it just came out of nowhere.
That's a way better story. I was just really enjoying my pink lemonade from Wendy's and just didn't see the car stop in front of me. Lemonade everywhere.
That's close to my last accident. My when I wrecked my truck was kind of like that.
Yeah, not very metal because I was like,
we got low power.
90s. It's up low power.
I think lemonade kind of takes the metal out of it. I'm just saying.
I never wrecked anything. I never wrecked anything. I feel like slightly less of a man for that.
Well, get out there, man. This time.
I know.
You got to spin that and make it sound like you're more masculine because you ain't never fucking wrecked nothing. Fuck you pussies for wrecking shit.
No one's gonna catch you now too because everybody's quarantined. Just go out and do it.
Yeah, you got to spin it.
That's what I mean? Yep. That's what we're all about here, spinning.
Yeah, spinning it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we for who wasn't listening when we launched this broadcast, we were putting out the music that is created by Mark over here. That song is Comicsgate Gold. It is so funny how many people have not heard it. Like they must have watched that video with the sound off or something. You know what I mean?
It's awesome sauce. It's slathered in awesome sauce. That thing cracks me up. Cracks me up every time I hear it, man.
Yeah,
I need an MP3.
I played it for Brian a bunch of times too.
My best story impression for that. That was good.
It's hysterical. It's so funny.
I got really distracted because Metal Movies Road. I got T-boned 2 years ago. I read that as I got boned 2 years ago on the 4th of July. Like, those honest streams.
Hey, that's okay. We're inclusive here.
Hey, happy 4th.
Yeah, seriously.
America.
Yeah. But I definitely dig that song. And
oh man.
And what we should definitely let's see here. I keep going definitely. I'm going into the Rain Man. Definitely turning into the Rain Man. Definitely. But what I'm trying to do here now is Brian ask him a question or two while I'm trying to freaking do this technical.
I haven't even taken my meds yet, man. I haven't even taken my speed.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah. Which is perfect. Which is prescribed. It's medicinal because I has the ADD.
Let's say I like that you have your speed in a lovely Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday little.
Oh yeah,
container.
well, that's because sometimes I forget to take it.
Heroin on Mondays, got cocaine on Tuesdays.
Seriously, I mean, like, cause some days if I'm running really low, I'll be like, did I take my meds? Did I take my speed?
Yeah, that's a little extra.
Yeah, so that way I can always check. Okay,
I'll just take it twice today. I'll just take it twice.
That's happened by accident before, and then I washed it down with some coffee. Yeah, yeah, I was ready to run like three Boston marathons.
You're wild, man. That's right.
But Mark, so tell us a little something about this game that you're doing. It's a side scroller, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean it's done. Yeah, it's called Starfetch.
Itself, yeah. Let's review that really fast. So let me switch this real fast so that we're not looking at nothing when I go into this, and let me stop screen and start screen with
seeing really amazing indie games these days. Really awesome ones.
There's really good stuff out there.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff, and a lot of side scrollers. And it's it's charming as heck that there's still an audience, a big audience, it turns out, for very, very simple video games that people.
Ritual's big, man. I think people, you can only play, Call of Duty so many times before you just want to play something a little simpler, I guess. But yeah, it worked for my style. It was. It was. I don't know. Do you want me to get into how I made it, or is
absolutely?
It just, yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were. Yeah. Yeah. So I was again back to the fan art. Seems to always work out well for me. I was doing some fan art for this company, Crescent Moon Games. They had this game Warfight that came out a few years ago, and it's a lot like No Man's Sky, only it was good. And so, yeah, whatever. Everyone hates that game. So, but no, this game was really good. And so I did some fan art for it. Thinking I kind of had the intention of hopefully getting this guy's attention to I was thinking more just like doing some banner work for him or some illustration work. And no, he liked it. We followed each other for a while, and I started working on this comic year before, somewhere in there. And he saw the stuff I was working on and asked if we wanted to do a game and make a game based on that stuff I was drawing. So the comic went on hold completely, and I had a chance to do this. So we were gonna get it done whenever it got done. And then Apple Arcade became a thing, and he was in good with Apple Arcade. They wanted to make a game with him, and so he asked if we wanted to do that, which kind of pushed the deadline really, really fast. It was going to be like, we'll get it done in a couple of years whenever it gets done. And ended up, we had like a 6-month deadline to get the thing done. So it was a ton of work to get done in 6 months. Just I drew my butt off. And,
I can imagine.
So yeah, the game's out. It's okay.
Okay.
We rushed it, so it's definitely got some bugs. I stopped reading reviews because my self-esteem can only take so much. But it's a fun game. It's a fun game if you get into it. It's fun. It's definitely got some bugs here and there, but it was a ton of fun to make, and it's probably some of the best art I've done in a while.
I love that. So
I started the comic again, and I had to start over because I looked at the stuff I did a year ago for the comic, and it was garbage. So I started over and. Yeah, there's the intro.
Is this going to be available on Steam anytime soon?
No, there was a exclusivity deal with Apple, so they have it for a while.
Gotcha.
And this intro you can barely read because it goes by so fast. We were rushing so fast to get this thing done.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the game.
It looks great.
Thanks. But the comic, it has nothing to do with this. I didn't want to, limit what I was working on to this. So you can consider the game as a sequel. Yeah, this is all drawn by me.
And the environments are moving.
Yeah,
like the plant life is moving.
Yeah, so I didn't do the animations. We had this guy Chris Gortz, who's phenomenal. he took my art and just like
Clearly.
he just rolled with it. I don't even know
Oh,
how
that's
people
wonderful.
do this. Yeah, he's incredible. The whole game came to life because of the stuff the guy was doing. So,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
Today's
True.
the 17th, right?
What's that?
Indeed, it is.
My gardeners just showed up, and I got to write them a check.
No worries.
Yeah,
So, whose screen are we looking at right now?
This is actually my screen. So if we want to see what's going on here, you can jump. Woohoo! Woohoo!
I was gonna say if you can make him jump and shoot his laser gun.
You can
It's a little pop gun.
Oh, it's like a ping pong gun.
Yeah, it's so it's based on the whole idea came about my it's really my son as a space adventurer, my 7-year-old kid. When he was born, we were thinking of names, and the names Reese and Randall came up, and we never ended up naming him that. But
Yeah,
I like those names together so much. It sounded like a 50s sci-fi adventurer, and
yeah.
I should make that guy. And so I drew my kid as a space adventurer, and so he's got pop guns and the whole thing. Like he flies in the cardboard spaceship, like he's on this ridiculous journey. That's what the comic's about. So it's this little kid. It's based on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. This kid sees a star in the sky and builds a spaceship, a cardboard spaceship, to go fly out and see what it is. And wackiness ensues.
Oh man, it sounds charming as hell, and the art style is.
Fun. It's all meant to be like a kid's imagination come to life. Like nothing's grounded in reality. It's all ridiculous.
That's
just
great.
Insanity. So.
That's great. I'm going
to go jump and drop this check off. I'll be right back.
You got it, brother. All right, now Drew is gone. We can start talking some smack about him. But no, I think it's great that we're starting to see some all ages stuff in Comicsgate. And Mandy, for instance, has Worth the Wizard coming out, which is like an all ages book. It's nice to see stuff that's kid friendly, and yet at the same time is very engaging. If even if you're a grown up, there's something very charming about your art style, and I have to say, especially about this character and the world that he inhabits.
Yeah, thanks. It's all it's kid friendly and also not also don't want to make it too childish. If you read the comic too, there's some themes in there that get a little more not adult, but they definitely an adult would understand them more. But yeah, definitely meant for a kid to breeze through and just enjoy the art, and for an adult to read it and hopefully get a little bit of emotion out of it.
That's great. Because I find that a lot of people who create art for children have a very condescending attitude towards them. Especially when I was growing up in the 70s, so many of the TV shows that were on, you really got a feeling that the people who were making this stuff had the attitude like, oh, well, this is for kids. It doesn't need to be good. And I think that that's a despicable attitude for a artist or a writer to have. It's like, no, if it's for kids, not only does it need to be good, it needs to be better than good.
Yeah. I mean, I try. I watch the shows my kids watch now, like in the very very childish. But I remember the 80s, like
scary.
I watch like PJ Masks all day, and this YouTube guy Blippy. I can only take so much, but I grew up with like Captain N and X-Men and Silverhawks and stuff, and definitely like
better stuff.
You can make kid stuff and make it all age. You can enjoy it at pretty much any age. Like I can go back and watch Silverhawks any day.
Kid stuff was a lot better when we were kids. I mean,
yeah. Even the movies then, like they were definitely a lot more edgier. I guess like Short Circuit. I get nervous. I've been so immersed in child culture now with my kids and stuff. I watched Short Circuit and like I forgot they were like cursing on it. I was like, oh my gosh, the children can't handle like he's shooting people, and it's just kids can handle more than you think they can.
Yeah, they can, and they're a lot smarter than adults tend to give them credit for. One of the things I always loved about Japanese kaiju movies, especially the ones like the Gamera films that are clearly made for children as opposed to a adult audience, is that they're really quite dark. And I find that kids really kind of like their stories to have at least a little hint of darkness in them. You know, they don't like to feel like they're being coddled or talked down to. I mean, I could still remember as a kid how much I resented that, whether it was an adult that was talking down to me or if it was an artist that was talking down to me. That's why I love comic books.
In the chat. Hey, El Frago. Just want
Hey,
to
El Frago.
Buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I took to the comic books, was because they weren't being written for kids. Those were being written mostly during the 70s for like hippie college students, you know. And you know, I can't say that like the cartoons that were on Saturday mornings were very good or that I was being well served by them. But whenever I meet like an old comic pro, I can always say like, you know, you treated me right. I was in good hands with your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff too, where, you know, I think if kids were playing something like this or reading your comic, that they're going to be in good hands.
I would hope so. I hope they get some enjoyment out of that stuff, and even if they don't get it, they can at least look at the pretty colors and.
Oh yeah, well the art's just awesome.
Yeah, it's I was fine. I saw a lot of the reviews for this game, and a lot of them were, you know, it's a little buggy, but the art looks good. So that was my contribution, so I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw some reviews, and most of them were like just like harsh, like, you know, like stupid reviews. You know what I mean? And they weren't even talking about what platform they were. They were just people trying to troll it. You know what I mean? So,
and people are. I mean, it's the internet, so they have a platform to be a little more harsh than they need to be. And the game is, you know, it's, you know, I wouldn't go out there and say it's perfect. I know it had bugs. I'm aware of probably more bugs than people even see. But you know, if you're just casually playing, it's
especially if you played it, you know what I mean? You probably are.
Oh yeah, I see everything. I can barely play it myself without getting irritated. I'm like, oh, it's not supposed to do that, but it works. And you know, it is a fun game. If you're just casually playing it, you know, you should enjoy it. You know, I hope.
Well, I mean, obviously, people are getting an idea of what it's like right now. You know what I mean? And I'm not very good at video games, so
if this was on Steam, I would get it.
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping we could do more. Yeah, Apple's got us, though. They win.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, Apple will deliver on the sales because they'll market it. So
right.
Yeah, we've all joked about when the game when we're finally out of that exclusivity deal, like releasing the assets online and letting somebody make a better game out of it. If they want
fix
to.
the bugs, you know, you can release the special edition.
Yeah.
Well, how awesome is the fact that Apple marketing this game is going to help you market your comic book?
I'm still like, it doesn't seem real every time I see it on there. Like it doesn't seem like a thing that should have ever happened. I've always wanted to make a game. I've tried 3 or 4 times in the past, but I don't have the knowledge to actually build something like that. I can do the art, so this was a great opportunity to just draw and let somebody else deal with the smart side of it.
So you own the rights to the name Starfetch and all that, right? I mean, that's all.
I think so. Yeah. we talked about you know, if we were going to do this, I need to be able to keep creative control of everything in it. So that's awesome. Part of it.
Well, that's your son, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's my boy. So
it's your boy.
You know, unless there's some fine print I missed, which, you know, I'm totally prepared for, but
right.
I'll just change the name.
Yeah,
I'll just call him his real name.
I love the game, and I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, I don't play very many video games because I just don't have the time. You know what I mean?
I made it. Now I don't have time to play it.
Yeah. So, but I have played this one a lot because it's fun. It's just cute, and it's like you want to know what's going to happen next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I found Pup, that was pretty awesome. I didn't know he was called Pup, but
I was so pumped you found him, because I saw the thing you posted. I was like, oh my gosh, you actually found the thing we put in the game. Like, I didn't think you'd get that far. That's great.
Is it another character or like a NPC? Or...
Yeah, it's like this little NPC thing you find, and it follows you around. And if you stand still long enough, he'll like dig up, you know, goodies for you. Like,
I was disappointed.
That's cute.
He did go away though. I was disappointed when he went away.
Yeah, the intent was to have him stick around forever. Actually, the original goal was to have you be able to switch between you and the dog and be able to run around as him. But
oh wow.
Yeah, if you lose him, he's gone. It's
Oh no.
Yeah, I was. It was. He couldn't keep up with one of the platforms I was trying to jump to. He couldn't get to it, so he and then he gave up and disappeared.
Yeah. That's
so you had to abandon him and leave him behind.
After you kill his mom, pretty much.
Oh no.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no.
Which was not the original intent either. The guy surprised me with that because we had this whole plan for that character, and I designed him. He was part of all the promotional stuff, and it got down to it. We weren't able to include him just because of time restraints, and then they kind of surprised me last minute. They were able to kind of sneak him in there, kind of as just to kind of make me happy because I was getting pretty frustrated halfway through.
Gotcha.
So it's like I'm in there to be kind.
That's cool. That's cool. At least they were thinking about you.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, they were all awesome guys.
Nice.
Yeah. If you guys are looking up any Apple games, look up Crescent Moon Games. It's one guy, but he's nicest guy on the planet. Does awesome stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're seeing wonderful stuff.
Yeah, he's just he's a super nice dude, and the fact that he even wanted to make this and let me have as much creative freedom as I had with it was
the slug monster.
That's awesome. For someone you didn't know.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, once again, there's just something really just charming about your style. I mean, it's just it's not just girls and little kids that like cute. Cute is my kryptonite, and I always say. And this is I just dig this. It's really cute and charming.
Oh, thanks. The cute's a coincidence because again, I'm just lazy.
Well, I mean, you look at people like Alex Toth. You look at people like Bruce Timm, right? Who have Bone Blaster. That sounds pretty sinister.
Yeah, that was fun.
But you look at their art styles, and their art styles were using as few lines as possible because they were working in animation. So obviously in animation you've got a limited budget, especially if it's animation for television. It's a lot easier to animate those characters if there are as few lines as possible.
Yeah, which a lot of this too, and the comic's a lot more detailed than this is, but this was too a lot of when I built these characters out, you had to draw the legs separately, the foot separately, the arms, so the animator could take it and have them do all kinds of crazy stuff. So everything's really simpler than it probably even needs to be. Yeah, you'll see that screen a lot.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got more, but you see a skull in it too. But
I know, I noticed that.
Poor kid.
I know.
He was probably annoying me that day. So, how you're dead? How you like that?
Oh wow!
Yeah, everything was kind of dumbed down and a lot more simple for the game. The comic's a lot more detailed, but
we're looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. When do you think we can expect it?
I'm hoping end of year. I want to just get it done before I do any Indiegogo stuff. And I don't have a clue. I'm gonna have to reach out to you guys because I don't know anything about anything with this stuff. I don't know how to reach out to.
Oh,
we'll
hook you up, brother.
You can count on us for you.
I'll probably be reaching out to you guys.
Here's the thing that's great about the community that we're part of, and Drew is the one who pretty much taught me everything I needed to know. But I've also learned from other people in the community, everybody is happy to help everybody else out. It's a club, and all you have to do is show up and you're in it.
I have been thrilled by how kind and like supportive everybody is in Comicsgate and just like it's like the coolest group of dudes. I don't understand. I understand where all the stuff comes from just because people are crazy, but like everyone's like super kind, like everyone's supportive. Like I started doing these drawings and I've never had a negative remark ever. Like everyone's, even if I probably butchered half of these people's characters and like they're still like,
no, you didn't.
But no,
they're awesome.
Yeah, I hope so.
Digital color forms, that kicks ass.
Yeah, that was Kyle Ritter last night. Made a really depressing tweet and saying people cheered me up, and so I whipped that together really quick. I had the template, so I threw those guys really quick. I don't think he saw it, but
well, and here's the thing too. You have engendered a lot of goodwill, so people are going to be that much more happy to help you. Although even if you just suddenly showed up, it's like we're all every one of us who's had successful campaigns, launched campaigns, and had them be successes, that's because other people helped us. And what I love about Comicsgate, about this fellowship that we're in, is that it's very much about paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
And not only uplifting each other, but also making sure that there's room for new folks, for new talent.
Yeah, it's definitely nobody's trying to destroy anybody to get to get ahead. I'm blown away. I work in I have a regular 9 to 5, so I'm in the corporate world. So it's a lot of people stepping on each other, and so to come into this and even in college, I did graphic design, so all the artists were always stepping on each other, and everyone's trying to get ahead of each other, and it's
terrible.
Yeah, and to see this is just like it blows my mind how just kind everybody is, and everybody just wants to help you and be a part of it. And I got to do like stickers for a ton of people, and like, oh shoot, all right, it's just
it's a micro. I always say it's a microcosm of the world as it should be. You know, everybody helping everybody else out, everybody else working to elevate each other rather than shank each other or stick a foot out and trip each other up. What's up, Rot 10?
Hey,
how's it going, Rot 10? Hail.
Yeah, hail.
So while we have the transition moment here, let's stop this screen. Oops, share this screen. Boom.
Oh, where can we find this this digital color form set?
I can put a link out. I'll tweet it out. I posted it just on Kyle's tweet, but if anybody has it, if they want to put it up somewhere.
I gotta run, but why don't you start telling us about the comic book?
Yes, sir.
And keep it semi-generic because I'll be back in just like 10 seconds and I'm gonna have questions.
All right.
Don't worry, we're gonna be talking lots of smack about you, Drew.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah. Please, Mark, tell us what this book's going to be about.
Yeah, so this story, and I kind of touched on it earlier. So it's based on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's not as silly as that, but basically this kid, really a smart little boy genius, based on my child, sees the star in the sky, this really unique star one night, and wants to find out what it is. And so he builds this cardboard spaceship. And flies out, sets on this little space adventure to go find out what the star is. So it's this journey across the solar system, pretty much. So he's going to different planets, and every planet, there's nothing about it is scientifically accurate. Like every planet's kind of like a child version.
Rico was being a
imagination. Oh, it's a kitty.
Yeah.
What are kitties?
Yeah.
Really, it's a child's their imagination of what each of these things is. So the moon, like you can see here, it's obviously not a full moon. It's like a moon with a bite taken out of it. That's how they have a crescent moon. And there's other aspects to it I can't get into, but there's reasons why things are more imaginative than they probably should be. And I try to do a little bit of grounding without being too grounded.
Right.
I won't give too much away on that. And that's why I've had no problem posting like the first.
Well, I definitely got the hint of a dreamscape when while watching this.
Yeah, there's definitely aspects to it. It's more fantasy than it should be, and the reader will be aware of that. But it is happening too at the same time, so it's some cool stuff going on there that I hope people will like. I hope it's not too confusing.
And I love your artwork, dude. Your artwork style is
beautiful.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm always surprised. There's a lot of incredible artists out there. So when people like this,
it's just the word that keeps coming up for me is charming. I just think it's charming as heck.
Yeah, and I imagine if you were to stare at it too long, you'd see all the perspective issues, which I hope nobody really focuses.
But here's the thing: you're not trying to create an accurate representation of reality.
Mm-hmm.
This is it's impressionistic.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of the stuff I do with the panels too is not really super traditional comic, and a lot of these pages most comics could probably take up all these pages into 1 or 2 pages, but I've kind of spread them out, and it's probably going to be big. I don't know how long this thing's going to be when it's done. I'm just getting it done and then seeing where it goes from there. But
okay.
Yeah.
How many pages are you into it?
I'm 13. It would be 12 or 13. There's a double spread in there, double page spread in there, but about 13 pages in.
Okay.
And I've been working really slowly since December.
And how many pages do you think the story is going to be?
I'm hoping it's in the 60 range max. I've never done a comic.
So you're a long ways before.
Oh, yeah, no, it's end of year. Actually, with this, I was hoping this week with everybody being locked in their houses, I'd get more done, but it's actually been slower than normal.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, so I have a kids kicking in the door every 3 minutes. So,
how many
I
kids
love
you
the
got?
spaceship. I love
Wow.
the spaceship. I love it.
So do I. Because it looks like something like little kids built.
Yeah, out
Yeah.
of cardboard boxes and shit. Right.
It's supposed to look like, yeah, I mean, it is made out of cardboard.
Oh, and the flashlights?
Yeah, they've got
Yes.
flashlights duct taped to it, and it's nothing about this is supposed to make sense. Yeah, it's just a little kid building their own little spaceship. And,
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's named the David Sling. It's meant to be this whole metaphor of this little, the David and Goliath metaphor, instead of the giant of space and this little kid taking on this big, this big world out there that he doesn't really know anything about. And
Right.
that's
So
I got
it's like,
stars. It totally looks like a communist ship. I just realized because it's got red stars.
I was wondering about that.
That was coincidence, but
That's okay.
you guys had Commie Mark on last week, right? He'll appreciate
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll appreciate that.
it.
Love Commie Mark.
That cry, I love that interview. That was funny.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious.
It was great.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, and that's his sister Lily. She has she's in the video game, actually. She's meant to as just kind of like narrative. She'll pop up and talk to you, but that's Lily Leap Year. That's his big sister, and
Nice.
she's not in it a ton, but she's going to be really relevant. And if I ever get a chance to make a sequel to this, she'll have a lot more relevance in it. But
Let me just tell you, this has all the setups for a full blown cartoon. It really does.
that'd be awesome.
So, So I would say, it's like, get this thing pumped out as a comic book. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then because here's like, okay, just like general like timeline of crap. You know what I mean? Comicsgate's making a big noise, right?
Yeah, we are.
So at some point, Comicsgate's going to be a very, very white noised group of people, and then the people that have been here a long time pumping things out will be the ones that are shining out of that white noise. And then when Comicsgate reaches that point, the industry is going to be very aware of Comicsgate, and then you're going to have people making movie deals and stuff like they do with the major industry. They're going to be coming at Comicsgate because they're going to be trying to capitalize on the market.
Oh yeah.
Unless something dramatic happens to fuck up the course that Comicsgate's currently on, you know what I mean? That's what will happen.
Yeah.
And it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 1 year. You never know when the industry is going to say, "Hey, let's do this." Because as soon as somebody goes and buys a Comicsgate property to make a movie or something like that, everybody's going to be racing to Comicsgate properties, just like
Absolutely.
they were with
And
the Marvel properties.
it's right for the picking with that stuff.
Right. And so you have something here that's already set up. I mean, basically, you finish the story, you have the comic book out there, you're creating the IP, you already have the Starfish IP created and making a noise with the Apple, video game.
Mhm.
There's no reason why you shouldn't capitalize on that momentum. You know what I mean? In fact, we'll Brian and I will probably start like pushing on you to maybe even start your campaign before you finish your thing, so that
If it's close, I might. I just don't want to run into an issue because I really don't know what I'm doing. So if I have that fear of starting up and then make it.
we have some.
Well-
I see something underneath here. Looks like we have Sim and yes, Sim has been in here. I don't know how long he's been waiting.
Oh,
What's up, Simon?
guys?
What's up, Simon?
And Scott, hey,
Oh, it's
what's up,
Scott.
guys?
What's up, Scott?
What's up,
Hello,
fellas?
Scott.
Hey, we walk in at the same time, Scott. Coincidence.
We just come busting in together. Yeah.
Like,
Now
coming
the party
through the door at the
started.
same time and getting stuck. But we were just talking about Mark's book and like what a kick-ass animation this would make. I'm also thinking 2 words: animated trailer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It'd be a lot of fun.
an animated trailer is going to be a necessity for this.
Yeah.
However, you could just like play the video game and talk over it, and it'd be just as good.
Is this is this going to be like a children friendly type of book, Mark?
Yeah, it's kid friendly. There's the idea is so a kid can read through it and at least enjoy the pretty colors, and an adult can read it and get some more of the emotion out of it.
Enjoy the like the double quantitation type of thing.
Yeah, there's some themes in there, especially with Lily here, that are going to be.
So hell
Kids
yeah,
probably
another
won't get it as much, but adults will get it. And
another CG for kids book coming.
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully, kids in it. I hope grown-ups like it too.
Yeah. But
If it's good.
it's something that we don't have much that kids can read in CG. It's still something that we don't have a lot of books that are for all ages.
Sure, yeah.
What I have seen CG lacking, and it's not a big thing. It's just a little bit of a lacking. Is that there's like not too many books in CG that people that parents can share with their kids. You know what I mean? So there's not enough material for parents to say, yeah, why don't you start being CG too as a kid? You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's no, I guess you can say, induction material.
Yeah. There's a lot of teenage, there's a lot of like 13 plus, like teenage and up. It's filled of it, but all ages is a bit more rare.
Yeah, it is.
Like we have the Pillowman and Blanket Boy,
Mm-hmm.
and
which looks wonderful.
Technically, Worth the Wizard would also qualify.
Or the Wizard.
Yeah, Sean he's a cool dude. I like him. I like what he's doing with his kid there.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And that's the thing. Good children's literature is still great when you're an adult. Like those, like the Narnia novels. I can still read those and enjoy those.
Yeah, but it reminds me when we were discussing in the horror talk last time. Remember when they used to make horror movies for kids too?
Invaders from Mars. I still love that to pieces.
Yeah.
The original. I mean, the remake's fun too.
There was
oh my
a time
god,
when the lines were
terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's something that's clearly made directly for children because it's very much about how adults don't take children seriously.
Right.
You know, mom and dad, I just saw like this thing land, this flying saucer land like by the sand dunes. Whatever, And one thing kids really can't stand, and I remember this as an adult, as a kid, how much I really resented being how dismissive adults can be of children.
Well, think about this. Think about this. This is we talk about this kind of thing. Like they don't do this anymore. But there was a movie when I was a child that was made for children, and it was a life and death action adventure movie called Cloak and Dagger.
Oh yeah,
I remember that
movie.
Yes,
The
that
Goonies
movie was
is in there, too.
amazing. It was a fantastic movie, one of my favorites. And they don't make movies like that anymore because it's considered too threatening for children.
Well, the Japanese do. They don't have a problem with that.
Well, the Japanese don't give a fuck about their kids. Come on.
No, they love their kids. They're like they oh my god, they really, really cherish their kids. And by that I mean like in a cult-like way. You know what I mean? And they're like the Germans like that. Like they're all about the kids, And but the best recent children's movie that I saw was called Gamera the Brave. And it's a kids movie about death. And
wow.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, like I was like, you remind
me too of that movie Bridge of Terabithia.
Yeah.
Remember that was a movie, that was a kids movie about death as well. Which I was really surprised when I saw that film.
That still comes on cable pretty regularly. That still comes on cable pretty regularly. Yeah.
Right. Like, how do you explain death to a child? And these are films that deal with these issues. It's like, once again, it's about having respect for your audience and having respect for children.
I need to point out we talked about how the simple animation or whatever. Yeah. But there is so much emotion in this simple illustration, as you will call it. Now, this is if you were to say that this was a children's book, children's illustration, this would be like the best of the best in that genre.
Right.
Targeting children.
Very much a visual experience. Yeah.
This is amazing. This is terrific, Mark.
It's beautiful.
Seriously.
It
You
really
got
is.
a hell of a future. You got a hell of a future ahead of you, man.
You really do, brother. You really do.
Thank you guys. That's trying not to blush on camera here. Thank you.
I'm not good about compliments either.
I mean, I'm hearing this from some of the greats here, so that's thank you guys.
get used to it, man. Get used to it. And like you said, I don't want to commit to doing a certain, I want to have this finished before I launch my campaign and all that stuff. We're very much of the school of Ray Bradbury, where you jump off the cliff and you build your wings on the way down.
Uh-huh.
Now, the cool thing is many of us have already done that. And some of us have built our wings on the way down and sailed the way to success. And some of us have gone.
And I would add to it that it's also good for you. Throwing it out there, right? Seeing the positive reaction of people getting involved into it will give you more motivation, more inspiration.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, just the fans, as you get more fans and eyes on it and attention, it uplifts you, like you were saying, it helps you grow wings, like Brian was saying, and the next thing you know, you're flying and it just feels wonderful.
And as long as you don't fall into those riffs of like solitude and anger and this, you just keep your wings open, right?
Yes.
And do best, you'll soar. And that's
Yeah.
And you're in, and then the thing is like this is a beautiful book. It's a big book. You're in no hurry to get it to the Indiegogo. In fact, I have a feeling that we're going to be pushing you to get it to Indiegogo before you're ready.
And the thing about its completion before
at least by summer, man. At least by summer.
Well,
I have an idea by then.
You didn't read my comment in the YouTube there, but I was saying it reminds me a lot of those old arcade games, like Metal Slug. Or you don't remember those old Nintendo type of thing? I think that's what your art that's talking to us. It's like, hey, here's that little thing that you remember with the big, thick outline and the cartoony, but still cool designs.
I love that. Were you the one that originally brought up the Metal Slug thing? Because somebody's been saying that online.
I've been saying that since I found you out. Yeah, since I found you out, remember? I'm like, hey, look at this shit. That reminds me of
I knew someone did. It must have been you, yeah. That's the best comparison I could have ever heard.
It was one of my favorite arcade games back then. Like Metal Slug was awesome.
The game's great. Yeah,
I still have the game play, every now and then.
Now on the previous page, there was a really interesting panel design where you have the ship and its smoke trail going through the panels.
There's going to be a lot of that. I'm hoping to kind of that page we're just looking at is probably the only page that's going to have the normal panel template. I like playing with that.
I was going to use the word playful, and it's.
I like how kind of meta it is, almost like it's saying, we're in a comic, but it's, how it's jumping out of the panels there from panel to panel. It's
and if you
kind of a Deadpool kind of style to it.
If you got questions, don't be shy.
It's a very creative way to show movement through time by
yes, very good.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a little more with that because if I just do boxes all the way through, I'm probably going to go out of my mind. I have to do something. I'm glad people responded to this and weren't like, "What the heck's going on?" Because I was afraid when I did it. Yeah, this page is probably the most generic page you're going to get on the whole thing. But
you could do a panel with a cloud. Like I'm telling you, dude. If you got a question or you want advice, feel free. Don't be shy. DM me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Dude, by the way, your stuff is looking awesome, man. That
it is.
Comic you're putting out looks.
Thanks. Thank you.
It does. And Mark, you will find that there are so many people that are as kind and as generous as Simon. That there are a lot of people that especially once they see how talented you are going to be very happy to help you. For the one thing, just because everybody started out as an amateur, everybody started out, being a wannabe, and a wannabe is just somebody that is exactly. And I think this is going to be a huge hit. I
hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
It will be.
Yeah, just
how many pages are you doing?
I don't know yet. I like I said, I'm just making this and where it goes. I'm guessing at this rate, the rate I'm going, it could be closer to 60, but if I can get it to that 48, that would be perfect because I know people run into trouble with the large amounts of pages.
So
really, I'm making it till it's done is my plan, and then
before we switch over to talk to Scott, I just want to have another recap on.
Oh hell yeah!
What's that again?
Neck beard so tight, got my glasses just right. Twitter raging all night as I tune to my feet. What's this?
Yeah, there's that too.
Controversy, I spit out my tea. This all caps logo is laughing at me. Hop on my seat, I'm chafing in my skinny jeans, but I gotta wait night till the daylight. Time for the soy boy life.
Word.
My IOU cut from the big two. Overflow with much. See, my roommates all agree. You need to pay a big diversity. And that ain't small kid playing dog with some mansplain. Can't hold a candle to my Hollywood payday. $20,000, yummy pre-tax cheddar. I'd like to see you in cells try and do better. Your pages float, your comics are late.
I am so happy that didn't get ripped on too much because that was the most nerve-wracking thing I'd ever put on.
Dude, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It is excellent, and I mean I have been doing music since I was a child, a small child. Music has been like a passion of mine since I was a small child. This is gold, dude. This is gold.
Yeah, it is.
You have captured the whole soy boy joke to the extreme, and you have laid it in with all the inside Comicsgate jokes from end to end. And most people who have no idea what Comicsgate is would not understand that. But if you are Comicsgate, that song is gold.
It is. And that's your voice, Mark?
Yeah, that was me.
You do an excellent soy boy. You really do.
Yeah, I looked the part too. The second EBS put up that picture of the soy boy, I was like, oh no, they're never going to take it.
Hey, some of us need beards, man. Some of us need beards. You know, I look like the Gerber baby without my beard.
Yeah,
so.
I shaved my beard.
It's just easier for me. Like I don't.
Yeah, maintenance.
I trimmed mine because
Me too.
You guys are all having a full beard now, and I'm like, okay, that's not cool anymore. Everybody.
I shaved my beard off actually because I was going with the beard for a while, and then I had some people like, "Oh, you look an old man with your white beard." And I'm like, "Oh, fucking asshole."
Okay, that's when you made the transition to Captain Love.
I'll be honest. I had a really long pinch, right? Then I was smoking a blunt, and I burned part of it. So I had to trim it, and then waiting for it to grow back, I went, "Fuck this shit! I'm trimming it all the way."
It was a message from the cosmos.
Any sauce in my beard, I'm like, "Oh, I should shave." Yours is way much better.
Singed your beer power.
I'll be right back. I just need to get a tea refill.
Oh, okay.
Chaotic Flux.
That's fucking funny.
By the way, El Gargoyle, definitely get it for your nephew, man. I saw El Gargoyle in there. Did I say Gorgile? Gargoyle.
Gargoyle.
El Gargoyle.
Too much
Gargoyle.
Mother's sweet tea going through me right. Yeah.
I think it's always funny saying "hell."
Hail.
Hey,
It's like Captain Fuckhead. Hell, Captain Hell, Fuckhead.
That's better too. Yeah.
It is fun to say Captain Fuckhead. It really is.
Oh man, yeah.
So you weren't all the way funded yet when you were here last.
Yep.
Were you, Scott?
Nope, I was not. But
So
I
you-
extended it, and then it it took a few more days, and then boom, it was funded.
Hey, congratulations, buddy.
So-
That's awesome.
Thank you.
What the hell is that book that I backed?
Do you have that problem often, Sim?
No, but that's a book that I can't wait to read. I've been hearing a lot of good things about, like, Nick, and a lot of people read the first one, and everybody's telling me it's good, so I can't wait.
I haven't read the first one. I remember seeing it out there and being like that. I remember thinking that looks chaotic.
So to everybody know, don't be stupid like I did and grab that big tier there. Just go for the book. Then you go add the first book, because then you'll get screwed. If you back the book, then you go as an add-on. You go back the second book, the number one, and you have both books.
Get the big tier. Get the big
Yeah.
tier. Yeah. No, get the big one. No, you're funded. No, get the small tier. No, you're good.
No. I mean, I grabbed the tier that I thought that was coming with the 2 books, but I grabbed the double pack like a fucking idiot. I was getting number 2 instead of number 2 and number 1.
See what happens when you shop when you're stoned. Instead.
Yeah.
You're gonna make $100 on eBay now. So
Well, let's roll this video.
nice.
Hell yeah.
That freaking looks awesome. That music too. That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
I'm so happy that
So,
you did number 2 and I could grab number 2 and 1 because I missed the first time.
Do you got an image of one of those creatures on there? Because that thing is so cool. Oh my gosh. I love that.
The Dread Fiend. Yep.
I freaking love that. Yeah.
All right, Scott, make the elevator pitch. Come on, tell us about the book.
Okay. So, Chaotic Flux centers on a team called the Crimson Flame who unite in the future to rid the world of mutant abominations that are taken over called Dread Fiends. And they stand against these horrific creatures as humanity's last hope.
Okay.
Uh,
So, what is the Dread Fiend?
So Dread Fiends are they were genetically engineered as a food source for humanity in this dark timeline where a lot of catastrophic global events are happening, as well as great war that's happening for fighting over land that's still usable by humanity and resources. So they create this life form by splicing a bunch of different life forms together to create a life form that can sustain itself in these harsh elements as well as reproduce very rapidly, or not rapidly, I should say quickly. And it begins to mutate on its own and turn against humanity. At first, they start out as very docile creatures, very easy to control. But then they do start to mutate and turn against humanity. They develop this insatiable appetite where they have to constantly feed to sustain themselves. And they just start devouring anything that they come across, particularly humans, since there's so many of us in the world. Well, I mean, there's a whole lot in the world in the timeline right now, but there's enough to where they, there's still a good amount of people, and they start to turn on us and use this as their food source. So our food turns into, I guess you could, like it's been mentioned before, man-eating cows, as people have said. So yeah, they turn against us and then start to just kind of take over. So they're this basically. I designed them as this kind of ultimate, kind of super monster, this kind of ultimate biological weapon, in a sense that just kind of starts to take over and ravage humanity. So the heroes, with these creatures being so difficult to deal with, the heroes have to be very tough as well. So I've designed these great heroes with really awesome abilities to where they were being pushed their limits and through the storyline because of the creatures, as well as other things that come into the storyline a little later. Like there's a dark entity named Malachar that starts to he wants to wipe out humanity because he wants to end his own existence. There's also a prejudice group of cyborgs that come into it as well that want to wipe out one of the main characters, Azara. She's an alien hybrid. But jumping back real quick to the Dread Fiends, I will say that they, when they do feed on something, they're able to break that down as a biofuel. They can use it as a biofuel to mutate themselves, make themselves bigger, stronger, faster, wings for flight, for instance, wherever they need to get the upper hand in battle. There's a lot of interesting things that come out of that. I've got a lot of great, really cool ideas to spin that out in the storyline and give the heroes just even more obstacles that they have to go up against and deal with as the story goes on. Again, pushing them to their absolute limits in terms of their abilities and their physical capabilities, their mental capabilities of dealing with all these horrific things that comes from the Dread Fiends. As well as other elements, but the Dread Fiends can also reproduce by feeding on something. They can break that down and clone themselves, and they will actually regurgitate the clone, and then the clone will quickly grow into an adult size. And that's one of the ways that is the way that they're spreading so quickly and taking over in the storyline.
I have a question for you. This thing I wanted to ask last time after after the interview was over, I was like, this occurred to me. Are they able to use each other as food sources? So say one eats another one and then clones another version, and then that new version that was cloned eats the one that cloned it and then clones another even better, more modernized version of itself. Fast evolution by eating its parents and
Right. Yeah, that is something that I'm playing around with in the storyline. So yeah, that's actually definitely an element that comes into it, because I didn't mention this just a minute ago, but yes, when they do make a new version, a new clone, that clone is a little better than the before, so a little smarter, a little faster, a little stronger. And they do have speech. They have a limited speech. They will communicate. They more have their own communication through sounds, these strange sounds they use, and the sound idea is also used as a psychological warfare element. Whereas, so you remember in, for instance, in the third Lord of the Rings, in Return of the King, when Frodo and Sam were trying to get into Mount Doom, trying to get into the castle and all that stuff. When they were in, where was that location? I'm trying to think of where the army was coming out, and you had the Lich King came out on his dragon, and the dragon makes that horrific scream, and it paralyzed them because the scream was so horrific. Yeah, and they had to crouch down. The sound was so powerful and loud and crazy. It freaked them out. Well, I love that idea of creatures, or a creature that could just stun his enemies from, the horrific sounds that are coming out of them, traumatize you, if you will. And the Dread Fiends do have that ability. They will use this. They use that in the storyline. But they also use the screeches and weird sounds to communicate in their own kind of language. But it comes, you'll see in the story too. They will mess with humans as well by being able to speak, English, and it trips the heroes out when they realize these things are talking and able to that's limited speed, it's limited basic speech, but they can do it. They can talk, and they're just like, what?
That's really scary. Yeah, that's a really creepy idea.
I'd be tripping out if my cow was. I'd be tripping out if my cow was talking to me.
Well, if I'm designing a food source, I make them paraplegics. With wieners, and then they can reproduce all they need.
Scott, as a monster connoisseur, as an amateur monstologist, allow me to salute you on your excellent, absolutely superb monster design.
Thank you.
That thing is.
Those are cool monsters.
Yeah, very cool.
And that's another thing too that you'll see. In issue 3, I've got something really crazy that happens with them, where, because like I said, they can mutate, and they can actually mutate to extreme measures. I hope I'm not I'm trying to spoil too much, but there's something big that happens in issue 3 that just it's going to blow people away in terms of just showing more really what these things are capable of. because that's one of the big things that I'm a big fan of, and I really love the something I'm putting into this series a lot are big surprises, big shocking moments, unexpected things, for sure. And that's going to be one of the things that's coming was what happens with the particular Dread Fiend that is in uh, some of it, or is in issue 1, carries on to issue 2, and then how it. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, it's big.
Nice.
But that's the thing too. Like with the heroes, they'll evolve in their own way as well. They, like I said, they adapt. They get better weaponry. They learn how to use their abilities better and more grand, and they also learn how to work better as a team on a team level. I'm a big fan of team stories, team comics, and movies and things like that. I grew up with the X-Men, still a big fan of the X-Men today, even though I'm not really big on the current X-Men, but
Right. None of us
the
are.
idea of these characters learning how to use their abilities together, use them, to complement one another, and release even bigger, better attacks and strategies. So all that's being worked in the series as well.
Oh, that's great.
And I can't wait to show all that to everyone. Yeah.
Did they name
Alright,
these
so,
things the Dread Fiends when they made the food initially? Like, we're gonna make this new food source called the Dread
sorry?
Fiend.
No, they get coined as Dread Fiends in the series by the heroes, and there's reasons for that. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you start getting that starts getting revealed in issue 2, or why they're called Dread Fiends. And you'll get even more, as the series goes on. But eventually, the heroes will coin them as the Dread Fiends because it makes sense to them because of these things that they're able to do and why they do what they do.
About to say, because if I'm making a new vegetable, I'm not going to be like, this is Satan's sponge.
Exactly.
This will feed the many.
Dread Fiends, by the way, I mean, I gotta salute you on that name too.
It's an awesome name.
It's an awesome name. It's
That is a
totally
cool
metal. It's totally metal.
Everything about this is metal. I love it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art is
So why don't you tell us about the female hero character a little bit?
Well, so issue 1 and 2 does focus on Zathara. Excuse me. Who is an alien hybrid, and she's part Zakaran and part human, and her species, they have this blue skin, they have these big red eyes with 3 pupils, actually 3 slits in each eye, and these pupils allow them to see in a 180-degree view as well as focus on 3 targets at once. So with that alone, they're kind of this there's this kind of natural warrior element to them, and on top of the fact that she's very agile and very acrobatic, but she's also able to form these crystal-like structures at will. This is not exclusive to their and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not her species, some of them develop abilities, and it's kind of an evolutionary thing that they're going through at the moment. And she happens to be able to have this ability where she can form these crystal-like structures. Others of her kind have other abilities, but there's some that can also do her ability as well. I'll explain all that in the storyline. But anyway, so she forms these crystal-like structures at will, or she can form and she mainly forms into weaponry. So, for instance, she'll make these kind of blade arms she'll fight with. She can create throwing daggers. She can make kind of like big axe blades and various other things. She'll also make weaponry for the teammates as the series goes on. You'll see that. And she's able to form these crystal-like structures on other parts of her body. For instance, in issue 1, she creates this giant blade on her leg, but she uses it in a really cool way, which I won't say anything else. But as the series goes on, you'll see her use her abilities in new and interesting ways. And so issue 1 gets into her backstory, how she's been hunted down by an organization called the Purging Hand most of her life, who's been trying to wipe her kind out for years. And the Purging Hand is this organization who believes that anything of Earth should not exist, shouldn't be. So they've taken upon themselves to hunt down unnatural elements of Earth. They are now actually fighting the Dread Fiends at the present time as well. So there's this kind of crossover faction kind of thing going on as well. So in issue 1, she's a child housed in this military facility called the Lateralist research facility, where they're protecting the children that are like her. And the Purging Hand infiltrates this facility and starts hunting down everyone inside to get to the children to wipe them out as well. And then in issue 1 also, it gets into her first run-in with the Dread Fiends and how she deals with them. And then in issue 2, we get into a situation where we see a little more of her past, but issue 2 actually concentrates more on the situation where a family saves her, and she's then thrusted into this life or death situation where she has to save this family from becoming Dread Fiend's next meal. So it's a very tense, very dramatic-filled, kind of fast-paced story that kicks off at that point. I have a lot of momentum built into this series so far, and I plan to keep it going. You know, this just kind of, I mean, there's going to be a little slowdown here and there for world building moments and character building moments as well. But overall, it's going to be a very touch and go kind of very action packed storyline. So yeah, that's basically the overall of the first 2 issues. Yeah.
Wonderful.
There's also Soren, who's an exosuit pilot. He's ex-military, and he's actually a test pilot for exosuit technology, and he's the leader of the Crimson Flame. He's in issue 1 some, but he's coming a little more. I'm actually now playing with the idea of introducing him even more in issue 3. And then there's Strife, who's a big transforming AI mecha. He turns all sorts of different things. He's kind of this ultimate transformer. He turns into a transport ship for the team to transform around, and he'll turn into all kinds of things as the series goes on. He befriends Soren, and they form this kind of, I guess you could say, well, human-robot relationship, but, we're like...
symbiotic relationship?
Well... I mean, more like, because I like for instance, how, like in Transformers, how Optimus Prime, and a lot of those storylines, I can't remember the name of the kid of the old cartoon, but they became like good friends, and I'm a big fan of like where the big robot is becomes good friends with the human, the main human character, one of the main human characters, and they built this, interesting relationship together where, he's a robot. So you're like, well, he's a robot, he can't have friends. And then that whole thing, builds and builds and builds. I like that idea of showing there's a humanity to the machine as well. He's not just a robot, and him learning himself as well as... Exactly. What little kid wouldn't want,
like, I don't know if you ever, if any of you all have ever seen Johnny Sacco and his amazing flying robot. It's like, what little kid wouldn't want like a giant robot?
it was Flight of the Navigator for me. He wasn't really a giant robot, but
that's an interesting thing. And all that's a dark children's.
Flight of the Navigator.
When you mentioned Cloak and Dagger, that popped in my head too. Was Flight of the Navigator?
Right. Yeah. Same actor.
Yeah, very good movie.
Oh, yeah, same actor.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yep.
No way.
But Scott, the amount of detail that you've put into this universe, the amount of brain time and imagination time, the amount of creative loafing that you must have done to give your world this degree of depth is astonishing and admirable.
Thank you.
And
I mean, 20 years. It took 20 years to get everything right and build it all up and get to the point where I felt like, this is it. This is the time to, get it going and release it to the world. And just share them, like you said, this complex, crazy thing that I'm a big fan of all these things. I'm a big fan of science fiction and horror and fantasy and big robots and exosuits and alien hybrids and crazy monsters. I wanted to create this story that incorporates all these awesome things, and here we are. Here's Chaotic Flux.
The people who aren't fans of those things, I can't relate to them.
Right.
We're not humans.
No, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I haven't backed it yet because I'm a broke ass bitch, but I am following. And as soon as I get pizzade, I am all over this like white on rice.
Yeah, I mean, if you were ever a kid, then this should appeal to you.
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely. And if you've ever enjoyed comic books,
yeah.
And so just to verify the point of conversation we were having a second ago, boom, Flight of the Navigator,
Boom.
right?
yes, with the
Okay.
the voice of
Oh,
the
I
robot.
forgot the little alien too. The
Pee-wee?
little puppet alien.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course there's Cloak and Dagger.
No
Right?
freaking way.
Remember, Dabney Coleman is also in both of them.
Is he wearing the same
yeah.
shirt? Is he wearing the
Oh.
exact same shirt, pretty much?
Damn, I forgot
In both
that.
movies,
Yeah. Pretty much the same character, if I'm not
You're
mistaken.
like, no, just make it red instead of
Well, no,
white.
in
We're
Cloak and
good.
Dagger, he's his dad, and he's also the hero that's imaginary.
Was this
You
the
know what I
first like cinematic universe that we didn't?
No.
It's gotta be a part of it.
Right.
Is this some kind of crossover that we were still unaware of? Right.
By the way, quick trivia point: the voice of the ship in Flight of the Navigator, performed by
Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah,
I
I
grew
know
up
that.
with Pee Wee
That's
Herman
awesome.
and that movie, and I never made the connection until I was like,
Yeah,
20.
me neither.
It's like,
What's
Yeah.
funny? What's
Me too.
funny is there's a hidden egg in there. You know, a little fucking Easter egg because the computer makes a Pee Wee Herman
Yes.
reference in the like
Yeah.
from the Pee Wee Herman
That's awesome.
show.
what's the reference?
You give me so many reasons to go back and watch that movie now.
Oh yeah, no, he impersonates Pee Wee Herman as
Well,
the
he does
thing.
that. Like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we
That's
had a
awesome.
VHS of that. My parents must have taped off TV because I watched that like probably 3 or 4 times a day. That movie, like,
Mhm.
It's on Blu-ray now.
oh yeah, I know, I have it.
There you go. There you go.
My kids don't appreciate it as much as I do, but
I've heard that a lot of like the older movies, like kids today. Like
Oh,
I
no.
remember
they're slow.
friends of my wife that have kids, and they'll show them the old 2-dimensional Disney movies. Beauty and the Beast and all that stuff, and then but after they've seen all these CGI things, and they fall asleep or they don't care about the 2D.
Yeah, because everything was slower back then.
I think
You had
it's pretty
dialogue
funny.
and character
Yeah.
development, and they don't stand for that
Mhm.
stuff now. Like,
Well, no,
Which is sad.
Just give me crazy visuals. That's all I care about.
just throw things at the screen and
Exactly. Exactly. And especially like the Marvel movies and the way that a lot of them end, where you're just like,
Mhm.
like, why did they even put human beings in this? They're just like throwing crap at the screen. However,
here's the
you know-
there's a big difference here. Like when we were children, right? We had to imagine our entertainment.
Mhm.
Okay, we had
Yeah, I
to
love
read it and imagine it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We might have had some cartoons, you know what I mean, but they weren't like really. I mean, they still had like imagination elements associated to them. You know what I mean?
Suspense
Most
of
of the-
disbelief.
Yeah,
And
everything
disbelief.
required a degree of imagination to make it work. Nowadays, that is no longer a factor in childhood entertainment. Imagination is not a requirement. Most of the stuff this is just spoon fed. It's
Yeah,
like,
plus they used to have a toy for everything too. So even if you couldn't get what you wanted out of the movie, you had the toys and you
Right.
just act out your own
G.I.
stuff.
Joe,
Like,
all that
yeah.
stuff.
Oh man,
Yep.
I had like I don't have any children. I haven't been blessed like that, and I never got the whole kid thing until my friends started having kids. And next thing I know, I'm Uncle Brian, and these, I go over their
Right.
house, they're Brian, and they're crawling all over me and trying to stand on my head. And these kids just absolutely raped my toy collection because I can't say no to them. I showed one of my friend's kids the Iron Giant, and he's absolutely fell in love with it.
Nice.
And right,
Beautiful movie. Beautiful movie.
and then wonderful instant classic, right? And it was the old DVD, and you open the DVD, and what slips out? A little advertisement for the Iron Giant toys. And he sees that, and he's like, I'm just like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to go on eBay, aren't I?
I let my kids have my animated series
That's
Batman
awesome.
toys for about 5 minutes, and they demolished them.
Oh,
I didn't let them touch the Kenner ones, but they were allowed to play with the animated series ones. But they ruined those.
I don't mind parting with stuff in my toy collection. Well, sometimes it's painful.
You
but
don't touch Daddy's Batman toys from when he was little. Those different color combinations of Batman were the best.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mine is the Millennium Falcons. Don't touch my fucking Millennium Falcons.
It was a while back.
Right.
My mom was babysitting, right, the kids, and I was. She decided to, I'm gonna give them toys to play with. So she went into the closet and she found one of the box of the toys that I put away that I didn't want the kids to touch. So she pulled it out and they played with it, and I had the entire collection of like the Batman Hush, the Dragon thing, the anime thing. Dude, I came back and most of it were broken to pieces. I looked at my mom and she's like, I just found a box of toy in the corner of your closet.
The
and
kids will never, ever, ever see my Dino Riders ever as long as they live.
My Dino Riders are dead. I mean, there's certain things that's like, because like my friends would come over, they bring their kids, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bust out like because bins of toys because that's where I keep all my toys. I don't have room to display all this stuff. Right. And then they fall in love with something, and then it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Be like the guy who's like, no, you have to give that toy back, child, because it needs to go into the closet and collect dust.
Daddy wants to play with that toy.
Speaking of toys, I already want my fucking Star-Fetched action figure. Goddamn.
Hell yeah!
I have. Hang on 1 second.
Those would look great.
Wait. There might
Brian,
be
you're making me think of Toy Story when the toys just want nothing more than to be played with instead of sitting in the toy box all day.
Yeah.
Boxes.
I can't tell you how happy I was.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
That's so
My
cool.
brother got these little Dorbs. My brother had this guy on Instagram.
Very good.
Yeah.
Reese Randall there. So I got the first toy.
Yeah, you do.
Heck yeah.
Kick ass.
That's fantastic.
Featured perk.
Featured perk.
Yeah.
Featured perk on your Indiegogo campaign.
No,
Who was it that made that for you?
My brother ordered it. It's a Dorb. I gotta find the guy's name. I think his name was like Ray something on Instagram. I found them, but yeah, dude, he like custom paints these things, and they're freaking awesome. I have a color somewhere too. But
get him on it now. Get him to mass produce those suckers now.
Yeah, I gotta find out how cheap he is because he's probably not cheap.
Well, I can see.
I do a Dorb that's probably not too bad.
I can see 3D printed, body parts where it's one big torso and head stuck together. The head doesn't move, and the arms and legs come off, and basically you just like 3D print those pieces separately, and then you fucking just stick them together, and then start fucking sending those out as like a perk on a campaign. You know what I mean?
If I could find a cost efficient way, I would make I have a deck of playing cards from the game that I made for myself and the Crescent Moon guy. So I would love to do a playing card tier, but those things probably aren't very cheap.
People do playing card campaigns, just so you know,
and they love
they do a whole campaign just for playing cards, just for card games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
it's fun stuff. Yeah.
It's interesting sometimes to see what the consumer wants, like alternate covers. I don't get the whole alternate cover thing, but people want alternate covers. So why not provide them alternate covers? It's not like we're putting a gun up to their head, forcing them to buy stuff. They're asking for it.
Speak for yourself, man. That's how I get shit sold, man.
That's how you get shit done.
That's a very nice alternate cover. I will say that was
how the master does it.
That alternate cover was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you like it was oh god, I don't know. This is I'm getting off topic here, but do you remember like those Shogun Warriors, like the really big ones?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like first they had them in die-cast metal, and then they made like the really big plastic ones that were imported from Japan.
Yeah,
and, like,
I used to have those battle my Godzilla. They used to go at it.
Oh man.
That's cool.
Like the fist on one of these Grandizer would shoot across the room so fast it would give a little kid a black eye. Like you would be put in jail if you tried to sell that stuff these days. There's no way. But a friend of mine, like I was going through my closet, and he saw one of these that was just sitting in the closet, and he was just like, and he wanted his son to have the same toys that he had when he was a kid. So I was just like, all right, like as long as you restore it, right? Because the great thing is you can go on eBay if it's missing a part, you can find that part because somebody's just selling that part.
Right.
I hope I'm not. Yeah. Oh, did we lose Mark?
Oh, sorry, I'm here.
Oh, okay. No,
My
you just
dog
went
was
off
trying to
down.
break
That's
in
okay.
again.
Sorry.
All right, so I had again the reference came up, so I had to dig something out, obviously. So hold on.
Metal movies and
The
briefcases.
Shogun Warrior.
Oh, there we go.
Payne
That's the one right
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mazinga with rocket
Great
launcher.
Mazinga. I had two. I didn't have Gojira though.
There he is.
You can decide. Launch his claw. Imagine
Launch
his
his
breath is
claw.
a blast of fire.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
Lord Shogun Warriors and Godzilla. They're ready to strike when you are. The Shogun Warriors, Great Mazinga, Guy King, and Godzilla, each sold separately. Accessories not for use with smaller Shogun Warriors from Mattel.
Was that part of the
Wow.
same like?
Yes, they're both Mattel. Yeah.
And there was also a
I've
Marvel
never seen
Comics
like
game.
franchises like that advertised together like that before. That's
Oh well, at the time, Marvel Comics was doing a Godzilla comic, and then they started doing a Shogun Warriors comic, and the Shogun Warriors were being used to fight Godzilla.
Yeah,
Huh.
I had both. I had
That's
all
crazy.
three, I had both those Shoguns and that Godzilla. By the way,
Really?
awesome.
Wow. That's awesome.
Evidently, it's pretty easy to find the Godzillas, but you can't find a Godzilla with that hand.
with the shooting,
paw.
with the
Yeah,
firing.
yeah.
Yeah. I had that sucker. And the flames were painted on his tongue as little things
Yeah.
flip out, and the tongue would come out like a.
Oh wow!
And the flames were painted on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
I
sells for
always
like
expected
100,000
Godzilla
auctions
thing growing
somewhere.
up, but I never had any toys of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I those of us who are older, we were actually children in 1978. So
I used to. My dad and I used to go to the video store and rent all the Godzilla movies, like the slime monster and the.
Oh yeah, the smog monster.
Smog monster. Yeah. We used to get all that one where that
Mothra.
Jaguar, where Godzilla's doing that flying kick through the air.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Godzilla versus Megalon. Yeah, that's when they were making those movies just strictly for the kids.
I was like 5 years old, and I was like, "That's stupid." That's
Exactly. The ones from the 90s are awesome. They're really, really good. They're great because they stick to the formula. It's straight up kaiju. It's guys in rubber suits beating the crap out of each other in model cities. But the special effects are 100 times better. So the costumes are much better. The model cities and everything, and the vehicles are much better.
That Destroyer one was great. We fought, what was it, Destroyer? Was that the big
Godzilla versus Destroyer?
Yeah. Destroyer.
The one that I really recommend is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Not to be confused with Terror of Mechagodzilla.
I used to like the Space Godzilla one
amazing.
with the crystals on his back. I thought those were really cool.
Oh, that's a great kids film. Yeah, because it's also got the little Gojira.
I saw Godzilla 2000 in theaters because I was so just trying to get the taste out of a 98 one out of my mouth. So
Right.
that 2000 one was terrible though. I remember that weird like CG UFO that flew around and they were trying to use CG with all their stuff at that point. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's not a high point. It's not a high point in the series, but if you watch like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah,
Oh my god,
that's fantastic.
Monster Hero, whatever they called that one.
Yep. That but when I'm talking about the ones that they were making in the 90s, those are amazing. Those are like a lot of those are Godzilla versus Mothra. That's also really good. Yep. But yeah, all pretty much most of the Godzilla movies from the 90s are just very, very entertaining.
I also the 2000s one where he fought. It was destroys all monsters. Like they had the 98 Godzilla in there. They called him Zilla.
Oh yeah. That was a diss. Yeah. That was Godzilla Final Wars.
It lasted like 2 seconds. He just like obliterated him.
Yeah. It was a big F you to Hollywood, is what that was.
That cracked me up.
Yeah. Because it's that's the thing. Americans can't make good kaiju movies because they don't stick to the formula. Or even if you look at something like Shin Godzilla, there's a lot of CGI in that, but you don't notice it.
I haven't watched that one yet.
I don't know. Pacific Rim 1 was good. I really like Pacific Rim 1. That was a good one.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. It wasn't as like I didn't. I felt disappointed by it. It wasn't. Well, it wasn't.
There were some things where
let's when we address those Pacific Rim movies, the same problem that the Pacific Rim movies had were in the same problem that the Michael Bay Transformer movies had, and that was that to hide the lack of detail in the CGI, they would make everything too dark. So you couldn't see what was going on. So it was poorly lit CGI.
They did that in that Godzilla reboot, which I still really like that movie.
It's okay.
Yeah, that last fight though, like you can't see a thing until he starts like laser blasting them from the fire breathing them, whatever you call it.
Yeah, there's not enough monster rumbling. Interesting bit of trivia here. David Fincher. I guess you guys all know who David Fincher is.
Mhm.
Yep.
Seven and
Alien 3,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Fight Club.
He wanted to do a Grandizer movie with actual life-size robots, like animatronics built to scale. And needless to say, it never got off the ground. But holy crap, how awesome that would have been!
Yeah,
I'm sold out.
That's crazy.
Pan's Labyrinth did a lot of that, didn't they? A lot of the practical effects stuff and.
And
you make a monster movie with practical effects, like I'm sold, like I'm in on it.
I want to see. I want to see somebody. I want to see somebody hire Boston Dynamics to make a freaking Transformer movie.
Fuck yeah, that'd be
You know what I mean?
amazing.
That would be awesome, right?
And then
Well, have you guys heard about the underground the movement where they're making mecha and doing like kind of like arena competitions? They're trying to get that to take off. Yeah. So when I first heard about it, there's these guys in Canada. They had each made a mecha. Pretty simple design, but they were like 10 feet tall, and you get inside of it, and you can move the arms and legs and everything. It had weapons, not like missiles, but it had like foam missiles that shot and stuff like that. The idea was, to kind of have this kind of competition where you fight in these suits, on a friendly level. And so now there's more people that are doing it, have built these full-on suits, and there's people from other countries that are starting to doing, like Japan's built some, China's built so on and so forth, and they're trying to put together this kind of televised arena tournament kind of thing where they whoever's the best. The U.S. team and I think it was the Japanese team, they had this kind of feud going on, who's the best of the best, and they actually went on ahead and did their own online. I think this was like last year, and they streamed it online, showed the whole battle. And the U.S. won, and they had their flag flying and everything, but it's really cool because they had one had like a saw blade thing, one had like it was like this like kind of drill thing that came out, and very very creative, very stuff you never thought you would see, it was stuff you never thought you would see, in your life, and then here it is, people making freaking mechs.
Scott, I have to stop you because you're giving me an erection. Where can I see this? Where is this? That
I can't remember what it's called, but if you just Google, just not Google, but search on YouTube.
Robot duel.
Mecha, like real life. I'm not Mecha, but search like real Mecha, real.
Oh,
did you find it?
hell
Sam found it.
I have it right here.
There's a bunch out there. I just can't remember what it's called. They had like a whole name for the tournament and everything.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of these.
It's been a while since I've looked at it, but
pick your DMs, Drew.
Robot Jocks. If you guys have never seen Robot Jocks, that's a great movie. That
I was reference that. That's like the wars, right? The Robot Jocks.
Yeah.
It's the dawn of a new age. For millennia, mankind has tested their limits with fists and gloves. In the world's oldest sport, fighting.
Is that crazy?
Our world has been forged by the hammer of technological progress.
That's what everybody's.
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. Yeah. There you go. Isn't that crazy?
Huge amount of people.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, I went directly for that one.
And to give it to them in their
It was the
lifetime.
biggest.
This is the U.S. team. Yeah.
So wait, America lost to Japan
The
in a
fall was
robot competition?
pretty tough. As soon as I saw the robot coming in and felt it go.
Do you and your team need to work remotely?
If you all remember Robot
Damn you,
Wars,
YouTube.
how lame
Robot
Wars was,
Going
right?
over,
Where like everything was built like
helmet
a
and tried to
ramp to
brace
just like
myself.
flip
It was
the other
over
one.
pretty fast.
That battle is
Yeah, this is
not
kind of the same
how
concept,
you thought it was going to
but on a
go.
much bigger
How are you
scale.
feeling about your
Megabots crew. Let's hope Matt and Gear okay.
Oh, 100 times cool. Oh shit, they're getting in those
It
things.
looks like
Yeah.
Iron Boy
Yeah.
is standing
You
up
know.
while Karadas
Yeah.
proceeds forward relentlessly. He wants to close the distance as quickly as possible. Look at that left arm come up. They're looking for the highlight reel knockout.
He's trying to clothesline him.
Down goes Frazier.
Fight's over.
I think I should have shot
And here comes the Megabots crew. Let's hope Matt and Gear are okay.
Let's hope they're okay.
God bless them, man.
One guy was trying to
bless
kill
them.
the other team. The other team was just trying to punch him over.
These people are doing the Lord's work, man.
Gratis getting into position, turning slightly. And Eagle Prime takes the lead here, knocking over barrels with that powerful chainsaw.
Let's go.
I gotta admit, it's a little
That's a
exaggerated. but it's
4-foot,
funny.
40 horsepower chainsaw, and it's originally designed to cut through rock.
We'll see how Karatis attempts to deal with this attack.
Yell at announcers.
Yeah, man.
Those 6 barrels can fire up to 2,000 rounds per minute. That could easily take out Eagle Prime's cameras.
Are those paintballs? What are you thinking?
Look at him.
Let's try something.
Yeah, what were those paintballs?
I guess so.
I hope those are paintballs.
Wow, Eagle Prime has grabbed the lighting truck. It's all coming down, folks. Karatis keeps unloading.
Up to the destructible environments too. Oh, hell yeah!
Oh my god.
He picked up a piece of the
Oh, that's
scaffolding.
awesome.
Nice.
What were paintballs going to do to the robot?
And Sarah, that truss gets tossed to the side.
I guess it's like boxing, you know, you get points.
Karatis. And now it appears a
Yeah, I think
shoving
the points
match is
system.
taking place.
I got his arm, I got his hand. That thing got flipped up.
That chainsaw is now activated.
Chainsaw.
Bumpers are failing.
What the hell?
Taking it down systematically.
That's some thin ass.
They're coming our way. What are you worried about?
Is he going for the cockpit with the chainsaw? Is that-
What are you talking about? Can he get the finish right here?
Trying to disable his arms and shit.
Wow!
Getting close,
This
man.
is crazy.
No, I don't.
What? What?
I think
Hold up! Get the out of here!
Oh, that cost a little bit extra.
I have never seen anything like this.
Please let this be a
The
thing.
chainsaw still
Please let this
away.
like get bigger and better.
Right?
There's no
this be
fire. What are they
popular.
putting out?
All that's missing is the big.
Yep.
And we have a winner. Team Megabots, Eagle Prime.
This is like if Asylum made Real Steel.
I remember trying to explain a Real Steel to a friend of mine. It was a comic book artist, and it was me and another comic book artist, a friend of his. We saw like the posters for Real Steel, and we were just like, "Oh, we're so psyched to see that, man! Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie." And our friend, who was younger than us, was just like, "I don't get it," and we were like, "Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie." I don't get it.
It's shameful.
We just couldn't sell it. It's just like maybe you have to
It's
be
a
like
good movie. I loved it. I loved
I
that
like that movie.
I don't understand why
It
that
had
was
the feels. I felt
It
it
did.
when they made that movie. Yeah.
I don't understand why that wasn't a Disney movie.
Fuck Disney.
I mean, it could have been. Well, yeah, that too.
I mean, like an old school Disney movie. Do you know what I mean? Like that seemed to me
right.
like it would be a perfect Disney movie. Fantastic Four, I think, would be a perfect Disney movie. I'm not talking about like modern Disney, that big monolith that's just like gobbling things up, like like the blob, the aforementioned Blob.
That may not now make it past 2020.
I missed this comment from Edward earlier. When the show ends up. Yeah,
Great Mazinger. Oh man, one of the things I loved about being having a table at the New York Comic Con is that if you had a table there, if you were like one of the not vendors, but if you were one of the people that paid for a table, you had a pass that got you to the front of every line.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
and like the Bandai booth was just packed full of awesome stuff. And I got to jump the line, and I felt like the biggest dick in the world. Yeah, I was apologizing to all the people on the line, but I'm like,
but it felt real good.
Well, it was. I wasn't. In my defense, I wasn't buying anything for myself. I was buying something for a friend because I knew, like he would go crazy over it.
Yeah,
but I still felt like I still felt like a dick.
I feel like you were announcing the whole way. They're like, "I'm the biggest dick in the world."
I was just apologizing to people. I was just like, I'm sorry, but
yeah. That's funny. Hey, so on that note, I think that we've been going at an hour and 39 minutes. I think that we just want to refresh everybody to remind them to back Chaotic Flux.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And spend some time on that campaign. Decide just the right tier that you want, because you're gonna want to get the right book. Apparently, Sim fucked it up.
No, it's just that they used to say that you can get both books for $25. So I just went in and I grabbed the pack at $25, right? Thinking that I was getting the 2 books. But if you want number 1, you have to grab it as an add-on. That's what I meant. I was trying to be funny.
And then don't forget Mark Marianelli here. He has the Starfetch project, the video game on Apple video games, and of course, we're gonna.
Some fat beats.
Hey, right.
Next year it's so tight, got my glasses just right. So in my veins, Twitter raging all night. As I tune to my feed, what's this I see? Hashtag Comicsgate, so much controversy. I spit out my tea. This all caps logo is laughing at me. Hop on my seat, I'm chafing in my skinny jeans, but I gotta wait night till the day like daddy working overtime for the soy boy life.
Soy.
My IOU cut from the big till overflow with much. See, my roommates all agree you need to pay a big diverse fee. And that indie smoke can't play dog with a mansplain. Can't hold a candle to my Hollywood payday. $20,000 yummy pre-tax cheddar. I'd like to see you in cells try and do better. Your pages float, your comics are late.
That voice is awesome.
It never gets old. It never gets old.
Everybody, thank you for coming. You guys hang around. We're gonna sign off. And everybody, give the whole dating game. See ya.
Peace, love, and soul, everybody.
Camera. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Why does it make us hit the end broadcast button twice?
I don't know.
It just doesn't